What's up YouTube? This is Ultimate Shield 340 back at it again with another Destiny 2 video. So in today's video I would like to revisit a build that I had created. It was called the Winter Soldier, and I want to talk about it again and revamp it and explain to you why I made the changes that I made and all of that. That being said, looking at the analytics, many of you don't seem to like longer videos, so I'm going to keep this fairly short. So today is only going to be about the build, and then later on I'm going to show you gameplay of the build in action. So this way it'll be like two shorter videos as opposed to one long one. So without further ado, here we go. So in the stasis subclass, of course, you have to keep your same super. Personally, I chose the Rally Barricade, which I'll explain to you why here shortly. Chose High Lift, the Shiver Strike, Dusk Field Grenades with the Diamond Lance, and the Tectonic Harvest. Now, as far as the fragments are concerned, I did make a few changes. So first and foremost, this is the Whisper of Shards, where shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate. Shattering additional stasis crystals increases the duration of this benefit. Now, this is very important to the build. This is one of the key fragments of the entire build. Do not swap this out if you are trying to replicate the same kind of results in your own gameplay. The reason being is that this is going to give you a significant increase on your recharge rate of your grenade, which is how I am going to be able to get my Dusk Field grenade to come back very quickly. So that's the reason why. Now, one other thing that I want to mention here, which I'll explain here again toward the end, is the Whisper Endurance. I am not using that in this build, and I'll explain to you here after I get done with all the rest of the fragments. So the next one is the Whisper of Refraction. Defeating slowed or frozen targets grant you class ability energy. This is, again, is going to be a very important and key part of the build. I do not recommend that you swap this out for anything else if you are trying to replicate the same thing. And I'll explain to you why, because the chest piece is going to give you the stasis crystal that you're going to need to fuel the build, and you being able to freeze a lot of enemies and get your class ability energy back quickly is going to help you move very quickly through the rotation. Next part here is Whisper of Chains. When you're near a frozen target or friendly stasis crystal, you take reduced damage from targets. In my testing of this build, I did not think that there was a question of if I absolutely positively needed this fragment. I think you do, especially in times of you being focus fired, or in the event that you are a solo. Even when you're in the team, there are going to be times where you're going to be focus fired. So this is going to be very helpful in helping you to maintain your survivability. Then right here we have the Whisper of Fissures. Increase the damage and size of burst of stasis when you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. This is actually going to be incredibly important for our main hand. I am going to be using Agriceptor in this build, so this is actually going to extend the range of the slowing field that Agriceptor is going to produce on the ads or mobs that you are going to be coming across. And of course, whenever you do the not only going to extend the slow, which will lead to freeze, but once you shatter those people, it's going to do a lot of damage and really contribute to ad clear. Then we have Whisper of Rending. Primary ammo weapons do increase damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets. Now, the reason why I chose this fragment in this build as well is because during this build, I actually do have, which I'll explain here shortly, I do have an auto rifle that fires very quickly. Now, the whole purpose of that is to, again, help you to cycle through the build very quickly, because one of the biggest downside of the Behemoth subclass is that you absolutely positively have to use Tectonic Harvest, which actually sucks in my personal opinion. One of the downsides of the Titan subclass is that you absolutely positively have to use the stasis crystals and shatter them to get the stasis shards in order for you to kind of do what you need to do in the build. If there was one criticism of the stasis subclass I would like to add, I really believe that there should be either a fragment or an aspect or something of that nature where you could essentially run the Titan subclass just like the other subclasses, where The other subclasses don't necessarily rely on having to shadow crystals. Obviously, of course, you can if that's what you want to do, but you don't have to, just like how you do with the Behemoth subclass. Specifically, it is the crystal shards that come out that you need to fuel the build. And you can get that in every other class, I believe, without having to shadow crystals, whereas opposed to the Titan subclass, you absolutely have to shadow the crystals. So I hope what I'm saying makes sense. Now, before I move on, I am going to explain to you certain aspects and fragments that I chose not to take. So one of them is, let me see here, Whisper of Durance. Although the slow would actually increase the duration of the dusk-filled grenades, I chose not to take this fragment only because to me, it made more sense to sacrifice the slow, the 2 second duration on the slow, in order to have a higher uptime. And furthermore, I feel as if Diamond Lance sort of compensates for that. You're going to be creating a lot of Diamond Lances, and by extension, you're going to be able to freeze a lot of targets very quickly. So you don't necessarily have to absolutely positively need the Whisper of Durance in this build. Although you can, of course, swap that out if you so feel inclined. One other thing that I wanted to add to was the Whisper Rhyme. Although you can add to this build and it is going to add some survivability to your build, I don't think it's necessary in this build only because you are able to compensate for the amount of health that you're going to be able to receive using different mods. And that's going to, of course, something that I'm going to explain to you as well. I believe that is the only two that I wanted to say as well. Also, one other thing about the Whisper of Rending, whenever you swap over to your, I would highly recommend you either have a very hard-hitting kinetic weapon or, any energy weapon in this build that, uses primary ammo. The reason being is that will actually increase the damage you do to both the stasis crystals, but also to, say if there's an enemy in the distance that is frozen. Using that weapon, you're going to do increased amount of damage to that enemy as well, so that's going to really help you with boss DPS if for whatever reason you're out of ammo for your Agar Scepter, or you want to even just swap over to the other secondary weapon in it for boss DPS for whatever reason. So I just wanted to add that. So that being said, let's get into the weapons. Of course, like I stated before, Agar Scepter. I'll let you read the trait down below, and then I'll let you see the catalyst as well. So this is actually going to be very important for ad clear as well as boss DPS. Whenever you do the long press of your reload button, you're going to overcharge this weapon, and it's going to shred through a lot of different things, and it's going to slow everything in the area and put out a lot of damage on bosses. So this is key to this build. The other thing here is that I do have this auto rifle as well. I was able to get the incandescent perk, although you don't necessarily need it. I just recommend a very fast shooting kinetic weapon that uses primary ammo. The reason being is because, like I stated before in the fragments, this weapon is actually going to do a lot of damage to frozen enemies if for whatever reason you ran out of ammo for your Agar Scepter, or you cannot use your Agar Scepter, or you just even want to swap to this weapon for whatever reason. Again, although I do have incandescent on this weapon, it's just added damage. Scorch isn't the highlight or focus of this, but a little bit of DPS actually helps. Then I chose the Typhon GL5 with Chill Clip. Again, more slows, more freezes, and then of course you're going to do more damage to frozen targets and things of that nature. By using this heavy ammo. And then here for the mods, I chose the Stasis Siphon as well as the Special Ammo Finder. Although I also chose the Powerful Friends. One thing about this build is that you are going to be able to produce special ammo, and instead of doing the special ammo scout, I chose the Powerful Friends because I don't know who's going to be running special weapons. or not, and therefore they might not be able to utilize the special ammo. So I chose instead of doing the special ammo scout, I chose the powerful friends. Everybody's going to be able to benefit from an armor charge, so being a team player is going to go a long way. Then I chose the grenade kickstart, bolstering detonation. So the grenade kickstart is going to be help you to get your grenade energy back. You also notice I only have one grenade kickstart in this particular build and two bolstering detonations. So the idea is that the grenade kickstart is going to start the process of me getting my grenade back faster, but really I'm going to be able to recharge a lot of my grenades back quickly because of the fragment, as well as using my class ability, which is the reason why I opted to choose two detonation mods here and then one grenade kickstart. Then we have the Hoarfrost Z, which is the key part of this entire thing. You're going to be able to produce those stasis crystals, and then using those stasis crystals, you're going to be able to essentially fuel the build, shatter those crystals, recharge your grenade rate, and then also if you leave a crystal behind, you'll also be able to benefit from the resistance from one of the other fragments as well. I chose the charged up mod. You're going to need this in this build, and that's going to be very helpful. You do not need 3 charged up mods. I believe that if you have one grenade kickstart and then you get 4 grenade charges, or not grenade charges, armor charges, once you throw your grenade, you're going to get like pretty much almost all of it back. So that's the reason why I opted out to just choose one, as opposed to filling it up all the way up to 6 armor charge slots. Then of course melee resistance, and then a reserve mod for the Agriceptor. And then we have the Stasis Scavenger as well. Better already, and Stacks on Stacks. So again, Stacks on Stacks is one of those mods that it's going to be important to this build. Get that. If you get one armor charge or one overpower, you're going to get 2 armor charge mods, and then 2 armor charges, or actually 2 orbs of power, you're going to get 4 armor charges. So with this Stacks on Stacks and then the charged up mod, you're going to have 4, and because you're going to be creating a lot of stasis frozen targets and killing them, you're going to actually create a lot of orbs of power because of the stasis mod, and then you're going to be able to just throw all these grenades very quickly, which I'll of course showcase to you in the gameplay. One other thing to mention here is better already. It's going to help you regenerate your health very quickly. Whenever you pick up those orbs of power, this is to compensate for the loss of that overshield that we're going to get by collecting those stasis shards. In this way, we're able to sort of mitigate not being able to have that fragment in the build, and for us to sort of be able to increase our survivability as well. Then I have 2 bomber mods as well as the Reaper ability. So of course, Reaper, anytime you use your Hoarfrost Z exotic perk, you're going to be causing Reaper, and then the bomber mods are there to fuel the you being able to get your grenade back very quickly. A few things to mention here is that why didn't I choose, say, explosive finisher? Well, the reason being is because I felt like I wanted to focus on getting my although the explosive finisher is going to be useful and work in this build, I felt that it's not needed due to the amount of orb generation that you're going to be able to create, and you want to be able to spend those armor charges on throwing your grenades rather than trying to get your grenade back, because Hoarfrost Z and shattering this barricade is going to help you get your grenades back so quickly. I don't think it was very much needed in this build, so that's the reason why I chose what I chose. And then one other thing to mention here is that I could have chosen Innervation. If I was not using Agriceptor, that definitely would have been used in place of this Harmonic Scavenger. So, I just wanted to tell you that to give you options as well in the event that, say, if you wanted to recreate this build for yourself, you know, you didn't want to use Agriceptor, you know, these are some options, some opportunities for you to use in your own build. And so another thing I wanted to use is because I'm using the stacks on stacks and armor charge, I chose not to use the surges, mainly because the idea is that I also am going to want to use the finishers to, you know, of course, get, you know, grenade energy back and all these other things. And I wanted to, well, not, I wanted to use the finishers as a way for me to, you know, just gain things and just kill enemies quickly without having to, like, basically use the finishers as a way to gain back, you know, grenade energy or anything like that. I just wanted to essentially use it to kill like those barrier champions, those overload champions very quickly. And that's why I didn't opt out to use that. And so I didn't want to use that in this build either. And the reason why I kind of went off on a tangent, I do apologize, but the reason why I didn't use the scavenger mods is because although the surge mods, I'm sorry, are actually incredibly powerful, the purpose of this is to spam grenades, and so that wouldn't necessarily mesh real well by using the surge mods. Also, if I use the surge mods, I'm not going to be able to, it'll be less likely that I'll be able to use the finisher in this build, and the finisher actually is very important to spawn those diamond lances. So for all of you who do not know, if you use your baseline finisher, which is the default finisher for all classes, for the Titan, I'll show you, it is this finisher, the Focus Fist. If you are using this will default to whatever subclass element you are using. So since this is a stasis build, this is going to be a stasis finisher, and because it's a stasis ability, it will proc Diamond Lance. So it will drop down for you. So that's the build. That's all of it together in one comprehensive guide. I am going to be showcasing you some gameplay in a future video, so go ahead and take a look at that whenever you can. If you've made it this far, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I really do appreciate that. I've come up to about 45 subscribers here at this point, so that's pretty exciting for me. Other than that, I will see you later on. I do not believe I'm going to make any more stasis builds, or at least for this Hunter, or Titan, I'm sorry. I think I'm going to move on to something else as far as like builds and things like that. But, you know, of course, I'm going to still play stasis, and I might make some more stasis like Titans stuff, content in the future. But for right now, I'm going to kind of put that on hold. And then I'm going to, my plan is the very next video, I am going to make a breakdown of stasis overall, give you my opinions about it, and then give it a rating, and then go from there. So, with that being said, this is Ultimate Shield 340 signing off, and I'll see you in Destiny 2. Peace.